Just when America has reached a breaking point with division, visionary influencer Danny Benson's I'm Proud of You Sis Bro movement taps into the pulse and heartbeat of a culture radically torn. But this loving mom's voice of reason and calm has received national recognition.
How do you balance having your children and always traveling with the Yankee organization?
When I became a dad, I said that I would always love like a mother.
I feel like I have to try certain things or act a different way because I know some people or some kids.
So join Danny Benson as she celebrates her special guests on her show and highlights their gifts and contributions to our world.
Hi. Hi, everyone. My name is Danny Benson, host and founder of I'm Proud of You Sis. Thank you for joining. It is Wednesday, 6 p.m., hump day. I live in New York. It was an absolutely gorgeous day today. I don't know, I got a little bit of the spring fever bug. I know it's only January, but spring is literally 60 days away because, it's January to January, February 19th, February 19th to March 19th. Yes, I am so happy. Thank you for joining I'm Proud of You Sis. I first want to say, I know MLK, Martin Luther King, Jr. Day just passed us 2 days ago. And you know what? I too have a dream. I just want our world, our America, our United States of America to just be together again. It breaks my heart that our country seems so divided, and I just love people, and I just want things to just be cool with all of us being all together, all again. I compare it to like having two parents in a household with children that are always fighting in front of our kids, and it doesn't really help our kids, right? It doesn't make our kids feel good, right? It doesn't, it's not a positive thing. And that's the same way I feel with the way our country is going. And I feel like it really affects our kids, our babies, the younger generation, to see the adults just constantly fighting, constantly not agreeing, constantly like bickering. And I remember there was a time, I don't know, people can't have it their way, all their way, all their way. There has a thing called compromise. I teach my babies this all the time. It's not your way or the highway. And I think that we have to come to a point where there's some sort of civility, some sort of like, I don't know, partnership. We want this country to be a country that's great for everyone that's here. Whether you were born here or you're immigrant here, or your grandparents, great grandparents came here decades ago, and also MLK, African Americans, Black Americans, didn't come here by choice. And but I feel that this is where we are right now, and I just want us to just move forward all together to just try to make this country as the best country ever on this earth, and to help every person just get the opportunity, to fulfill their dreams, to get the house with the white picket fence. I remember my parents would talk about the white picket fence, and my parents did get that. And then, my siblings got that too. And my parents are immigrants. I'm the first time immigrant here. And I saw my parents bust their butt. And I just feel like, everyone, I just think we all need a timeout, and just to get our focus back, and understand why America is great. We are a melting pot of so many different ideas. We have freedom, we have liberty, we have happiness. Some days we have good days and bad days, but I mean, I honestly wouldn't trade any other place in this world to go, besides the United States. I know our country is not the most perfect country in the world. I know it's probably people might say other countries are better, but just on a stamp of MLK Day, Martin Luther King Day, let's just all just get along for the greater good, for our babies, for our children, because I know this bickering is probably depressing the hell out of them. But anyway, I have Miss Theo Mom Point here. She's actually my little cousin. Love her to pieces. She's the first family member that's ever come on my show, and I am so proud of her, sis, because she is the younger generation. She is the generation that is being affected by all of this craziness that's going on. Our babies is going on, but this new generation, which is Theo's generation, is introducing me to things that I've never known before. And my little cousin is an influencer, and she's also a supermodel. I think she's so pretty, she's so gorgeous. But I wanted her to come on the show and just talk about her generation. Like, what are they doing? What do they think about the world? Like, everybody wants to be an influencer. I heard it in America. All the kids want to be an influencer. Either that or be on Roblox, like my kids. So we're turning the page into a new generation of digital, children, digital, just not archaic like it used to be. And so I want our country to understand that in order for us to remain the best, it's like the divided we fall mechanism. We don't want this. If we're divided, eventually we will fall. So if we don't get it together, I don't think our kids are going to have a future in this country. The future that we appreciated when we were growing up. So Theo. Hi, Theo. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
You sound wonderful. You look beautiful. Hey guys, this is my little cousin. She's on the show. I'm so proud of my little cousin. I mean,
thank you.
I wanted her to come on the show because she represents the future, our future. And hopefully, like, if the grown adults like me and you can't get it together, I am putting all of my gambling pieces in the hopes that her generation will get it together. So Theo, thank you for coming on I'm Proud of You, sis. How is your day going?
Girl, I just got home from work, so I have to make this happen for my cousin, so I'm here.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming here. So first of all, you are an influencer. I follow your page, and I think you're so amazing because I want to do what you want to do, but I don't know how to do it. I feel so old sometimes, but you do it so flawlessly. My cousin Theo Mom Point is _ Theodora on Instagram if you want to follow her. She is a lifestyle influencer. She cooks, fashion, you name it. I mean, I go to her page and she gets like tons of likes. So explain to me how this social media era has helped you, grow your business, because you also have a business.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, let's start with how it started. So
okay.
I was never really into computers, anything. While I was in high school, my graduating class was 2012. My peers were into Twitter and stuff, but that just wasn't my thing. I had a Twitter, I had a social media, but I just wasn't on it and using it. So after I had my daughter at 21, I started being more active on it, posting pictures of myself, and people were so amazed that I snapped back. But truly, I was just young. I had a kid at 21. That's what happened, And from there, I just felt like being vulnerable. I shared my breast augmentation story, and girls found that inspiring. And then from there, I kind of made a brand for myself and built followers from there. But influencing is not what it seems. I feel like back then it was kind of like, yeah, be vulnerable and everybody will like be attracted to your story. But now that everybody's being vulnerable, it's like you got to be even more creative to get the engagement and the likes. So It's an ongoing thing. So when people say, "Oh, I want to be an influencer because it looks easy," I'm like, no, it's just as hard as getting a degree. You're always teaching yourself new things, learning these new apps. It's just like sometimes Dakota, my daughter, she's 7, she's teaching me new things because I'm like, I'm tapped out. I don't want to learn no more. I don't like, so that's kind of how it started. And then from there with the business, I kind of just was like, you know what? I have this following base. Let me just come out with a brand. And at first it was going really good. But one thing about social media that people misconstrue is just because you have followers, those followers turn into sales. You have to also push yourself, show them why they should buy your stuff. Because as I said, now at 2023, everybody has some type of business. Versus back in 2015, when I first was on social media, anybody could start a brand and it would blow up because it wasn't so much small businesses to like support. So now that there is so many businesses to support, you have to be posting TikToks and reels and making it think your content go viral, and it goes beyond your actual followers. So it's not easy. I have good weeks, I have bad weeks, but all in all, I just keep on going every day.
So, okay. So the thing is, when you say have good weeks and you have bad weeks, is it because of the numbers of likes? Like, is everyone is like, if something does well, is it because it has a lot of likes, so you know it did well? And if it doesn't do well, it's because it doesn't have a lot of likes?
The thing with social media now, it's like you could put the most effort into a reel and like get all the angles and put hours into it, and you post it, and it don't do that well because of the algorithm. And there's other times where you just post a random picture or a random video and it does numbers, and you're just like, what was it about this thing, Instagram? Well, why did y'all push this out there to so much people? So it's really unpredictable. But my only advice is once you're consistent, the algorithm pays attention to your content and pushes it out. So there's no cheat code to it, honestly. You just got to keep on applying yourself and being as authentic as possible.
So you think if you are authentic, people gravitate to you more because you're more vulnerable? Because I come from a generation of, it's hard to be authentic. It's hard to show, it's just hard to people that you don't even know, just.
That's true. I think people appreciate authenticity, especially in my age group. I'm 28. I grew up 9 years apart from my sister, and everything was just such a secret.
Yes.
Everything was such a secret.
No, I come from a generation of whatever happens in Cancun stays in Cancun. Okay. So no one knew anything that was going on in no one's life.
Exactly. So a lot of things I felt like I learned late in my life, or from people outside of my family, because everybody was like, stay in a child's place. But of course, being 20 and outside, you was never in a child's place. You was finding yourself in predicaments that you shouldn't have been. But if you're adults, your elders were like more outspoken to you, you would be more aware and be like, maybe I shouldn't be getting into that and stuff like that. Even down to stretch marks. When I was, I think 12, I just woke up one day with a bunch of stretch marks on my thighs. And I went crying to my mom, like, what is this on my legs? And she's like, get out of here, girl. But it was very like heartbreaking to me. I did not know what it was. And at that time, I'm changing in front of my friends in gym, hiding myself. And one year I seen another girl with something similar on her skin. I was like, what is that? She's like, oh, girl, this is stretch marks. You get them. And I was like, oh, I thought I had like some skin rash or something. Like, it was so taboo because my mom didn't have stretch marks. My sister at the time didn't have stretch marks. And no one educated me on what it was. And because back then I wasn't into the internet, it just was like, I don't know what's wrong with my skin.
Oh my God. And you know what? I have daughters, and I try my hardest now to really communicate with them, because in our generation, we found out things by just finding out. Like, our parents didn't really tell us anything. It's like, it'd be like every time you ask a question, it was just like, that's adult stuff. Go in the corner. Like, and I'm like, wait, but it's happening to me now.
So,
Oh, you'll
yeah,
find out when you're an adult. You'll find, I'm like,
exactly.
okay, I gotta wait 20 years to find out what's going on with me now.
Exactly.
So not hearing you, I'm like, oh wow, I have to do better with my kids because I sometimes do the same thing too. I'm like, oh, it's rated R. You don't need to know this now. And they're like, what? What are you talking about? It's rated R.
Exactly. So
But you know,
yeah. So with that being said, a lot of my friends experience the same thing at home from their siblings, from their parents. So it just made us closer. So even down to like, you know, when we're first like sexually active and stuff like that, instead of us going back to our parents and being like, hey, something down there doesn't feel right, we're going to our friends and we're going on Google and we're just torturing our vaginas, okay? Like TMI, like, instead of going to the doctor for a basic yeast infection, you're like trying to do home remedies because you don't want to let your parents know that you're sexually active. And then it's like, it goes further than what it needs to go to. And you're in spaces that you don't need to go to because you're relying on your friends that's just as dumb as you or unexperienced as you, I should say.
and
So,
you know what? You brought a really great point because it's we're in a weird time right now where we feel that our kids should be sheltered and not find out about stuff or because it's not kids appropriate. And
mhm,
I was kind of stuck in that bubble too of like not really letting my kids know anything because I want them to act age appropriate. But
mhm,
you are right. Like I was speaking to one of our family members who's a principal at a school in New York City, and she sees all types of stuff going on in the schools, and she yelled at me. She was like, Danny, stop being like naive. Like your kids are gonna find out. So it's better that you tell your kids instead of it like don't ask, don't tell. Like don't ask, don't tell only works with adults. Kids are gonna be chatting all day
right,
long about it. So the reason that I was bringing that up was because of the whole transgender, the LBGTQ,
right,
um, what's going on with that group, where some parents feel like it's not appropriate to talk about it in the classroom, and they don't want the kids knowing about it. But when I was talking to her, she made sense. She was like, Danny, if they're on the iPad, if they have a cell phone, if they have other friends that their parents are talking about it, they were like, you better talk to your kids about it because the last thing you want is for someone else to educate your kids into
exactly,
what's really going on in the world because you're scared
yeah,
that it's going to change them or affect them. And they're like, they're going to get changed and affected anyway because the world just got smaller with the cell phone. They could
exactly.
find out, they could
And if you
Google.
don't know anything, you could fall for anything. So if you don't have the basic foundations at home, just the introduction, if someone tells you like actually the sky is really purple, but nobody confirmed that at home, it's like, I guess the sky is really purple. Like,
You are so, see, this is why I love talking to the younger generation because more politicians, more adults need to really start listening to these kids, our babies, because I don't think age dictates how smart you are, how wise you are. I think your generation is one of the smartest generation because you guys have access to information and you guys can teach yourself stuff that we, when I was growing up, didn't have because we didn't have a computer, in our hands, right? So I like listening to Generation Z. I like listening to the younger kids, like my kids' generation, because they have so much to offer. And if you would ask them, like, how do you feel about the world? I know they would give things that would be profound to us as adults. So let me ask you a question, Theo. Can you hear me? You can't hear me? You might have to go out and come back in again. Go out and come back in again because I can't hear you. Yes. You have to go. So leave and come back. sign out and come back. Oh, sorry for the technical difficulties. I don't know. We just got really excited. But the point that I was trying to make is I know as parents, we are very protective of our babies. And I know when I was growing up, only thing like my cousin Theo just said, are you back, Theo?
Yes, I'm back. I'm sorry about that.
Okay, so I was trying to explain to the audience that when I was growing up, and a lot of the adults was growing up, we were taught differently of how to teach our children. We didn't talk about sex, we didn't talk about drugs. It was just only about go to school and get an education, right?
Right.
But now, like you just said, things are different now. The information is in your kids' hands. So even if you don't want to talk about it, if you don't want them to find out about it, they're gonna find out about it anyway because most kids have cell phones or have computers because of school, and the only thing they have to do is go Google and know how to
Google search away, and we know how Google works these days. It's like a can of worms if you go the wrong direction. You know, you'll be like, oh, these are my symptoms, and you might think you have cancer for something that's not cancer. You know, it just could take you the wrong place, Google, without like right guidance. So it's always.
So let me ask you a question. You have a daughter.
Yes.
What would you do differently with your daughter you have now versus how you were raised?
So many things.
So tell us, because I want to know, because I think as an adult, sometimes we're so stuck in our ways and we have to figure out how to reimagine things based on the time that we are in right now.
Yeah. For starters, I'm always picking her brain. Like, how are you feeling, Dakota? What's going on? Like, I force a conversation out of her because a lot of times my mom used to flick me off, just kind of like, girl, get out of here. I'm busy. I'm tired. I just worked, whatever. And it would make me feel like I didn't have anybody. Even though I know my mom loved me, she worked her butt off to make sure we have everything that we need. But quality time wasn't there, and it was just like the simple things that she never asked me. So I always asked her how she's going, what's going on. And I kind of do have Dakota in grown people business. So it's like when my friends are around, she's around to a limit. And if she has a question that seems a little bit uncomfortable for me, instead of me shutting her down and telling her like, we're not talking about this, I tell her, give me a second. Because I don't want her to go to someone else asking the question just because I'm not prepared. So I was like, just give me a second, and I just find the right words to explain it. When Dakota was about 3, she's seen 2 men on TV kissing, like, oh my gosh, mommy, what is that? Are they supposed to be doing that? And like, how do you respond to that? Because this is the reality. This is the world that we live in. I don't have a say to say that they should or they shouldn't, but it's allowed. And it's a thing. It's happening. So with the way I live life, we just give respect to everybody. Don't frown up your face. Like that's their business. So you got to respect that. So moving forward, when she sees it, it's not like taboo to her. It's not like a big reaction. It's kind of like oh, that's just what they do. There's no deeper conversation that needs to be had. Schoolwork, I try to just understand like, why is this not working, Dakota? What's hard about it? I'm open to tutoring, everything. I feel like a lot of our parents, instead of trying to figure out why we're not understanding something at school or why we're failing, it's like, oh, I'm gonna beat you. I'm gonna yell at you until you get it right. And it's like, sometimes your kid might need some extra help. Whether it's a tutor or you spending extra time with them, you contacting the teacher. So I just feel like, I don't only request off of work just to go on vacation. I'm requesting off of work to go to my child's school and sit down with somebody just to get to the bottom of it. Because a lot of our failures in adulthood is because nobody really sat down and truly gave a fuck. Everybody is like, oh, I'm paying for you to go to school. You have a great home. You have stuff, but nobody was really present for us and was being an advocate for us growing up. As a Haitian child with Haitian parents, I feel like my mom felt like once she fed me, gave me a place to stay, clean clothes and all that stuff, that was enough. And I felt like I needed her to be uh, more emotionally available for me and just more present when it came to school stuff.
Wow. Like I feel that what you're saying is so profound because it's so true because as a parent, I have to catch myself sometimes,
Mhm.
with my kids, because I'm older, my patience is not there. I'm like,
Girl,
I'm doing
me too.
so. I
Me
know,
too.
but you know what it is? I love how the younger generation has a different approach because
Mhm.
like even with my parents, it was just like it was is do as I say, not as I do. Didn't
Yeah.
understand that. I'd be like, well, you guys are yelling at each other. Oh, no, 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 you don't watch. So it was always contradictions when I love my parents. My parents were the best parents in the
Yes.
world,
Same here.
but they didn't see me as a person. They just saw me as a child, and I got it. I know I was a child, but this child had feelings. This
Mhm.
child had a brain. This child could observe. This child did not have to feel that they didn't have a say. I'm not saying that I should have had a choice, but at
Mhm.
least make me feel like you're listening to how I feel instead of just making me feel like my feelings mean nothing.
Right.
And I think that's what caused a lot of like depression growing up, a lot of like, you know, just like you were saying, like I had like a lot of acne on my face, and I would tell my parents like, "What is this?" And they'd be like, "Oh, it's just your hormones. Bye." Meanwhile, I was being bullied in school every day, called pimple face every day, and my
Right.
parents just
Right.
made it seem
Wow.
like everybody gets bullied, And
Mhm.
so this is what I was trying to tell the world, our country, United States of America. Time time evolves, right?
Yeah.
People evolve. It's okay to evolve. It's okay to make mistakes and learn from your mistakes. But we're here to make the next generation better than
Exactly.
our generation, right? And I feel like parents like me, because I'm older than you, are not setting the good example for the younger generation to look at us and say, okay, we want to emulate them because they got it together. Because honestly, it looks like the adults don't have it together. It looks like you guys have it together more than us.
I say it's 50-50 because I feel like you're doing an amazing job. Whenever I come to your house, everybody's like, "We're going to Danny's house." I'm like, "Yeah." All the kids get happy. You know how they are, and
Oh,
my inner child feels so happy seeing our kids see us happy, see us be around each other, partying, doing a little TikTok dances, all of that. Because I never see my mom do none of that. All she did was work, okay? She was working in the kitchen or she was cleaning. And if she was chilling in her bed, getting ready for her next shift or getting ready to go to bed. So I think at that part, you're doing amazing. And I think you're putting life into your own children, you know? It's like, wow, my mom is doing that. My
well,
mom is
I
doing
well, Theo, I want to say I'm so proud of you. I think you're an amazing mom. You're an amazing human being, and this is what our kids need to hear. The adults have to start listening to the kids, the younger generation, and not just like shush them off and say they don't know what they're talking about. Yes, they do know what they're talking about, and they do deserve a seat in the table on the table because this is as much as their country as it is our country too, as it is adult country too. And these kids are so much. I feel like they're so. You guys are so smart. Um, but I just want to say to anyone who is watching me right now live, we're going to optimum viewers. We will finish this conversation the next time. And for the people who's watching me live, just wait 2 more seconds. 2 and 2. I feel like Chuck Hillary right now. Chuck, Chuck. 2 and 2. And I'll be right back. Okay, so we can finish the conversation with Theo Mom Point. Yes, okay, we're back live. So Theo, you I just want to tell you this.
Mhm.
You are the reason, your sister, the younger generation are the reason why I am playful because I watch you guys, and honestly, I did not want to be like my parents. I did not. I wanted. I don't. I'm not friends with my kids, but I
Mm,
wanted to create a relationship with the younger kids, the younger generation.
right.
That I'm here. I'm listening to you. We can have fun at my house without feeling like, don't touch the furniture, don't touch this, don't sit on this. I always tell you guys, what's the point of having a house if your kids
If you
can't have
can't,
fun in the house?
right. Mm-hmm.
What's the point of paying like a mortgage? What's the point of getting nice I understand that you have nice things, but isn't a house supposed to be more of a creation of memories, having
Exactly.
kids running around, laughing, dancing,
Mm-hmm.
and not just coming to someone's house. And I remember I
And
used to go to my
sitting in
aunt's, sitting in the corner like this. Why would I want to go back to a house where I can't have fun? Like, I'm a kid. I'm meant to live a little bit. Why
hmm
can't I? Why can't I? So I, so you guys made me look into myself, and I love my parents, but I didn't want to be like my parents,
right.
meaning that in the way that I had a relationship with you, Theo, that generation, and even our baby's generation, I wanted it to be more of a, like, we can all listen together. We all have opinions. Yes, I am the adult. Yes, you're younger than me, but it doesn't mean that your feelings doesn't matter. You have
Exactly.
a, it matters. And I think that when you make kids feel like your daughter, I love your daughter so much. I love Dakota, Miss Dakota. I feel like she's gonna be like an influencer like her mom. She's an
Superstar.
influencer. Yes, superstar. Superstar in training. I always say she's gonna be the next Beyonce. Beyonce, watch out.
Watch out.
Dakota, Dakota is coming. So I'm saying it here first. I just believe in our family so much. But I feel that when you build that relationship with your daughter, of
hmm
course now your daughter's gonna trust to come to you first before she even goes to her friends now, because you guys now establish a relationship of authenticity,
Right.
honesty, an open dialogue. You're not gonna get, like, smacked in the face by saying something inappropriate, because
Exactly.
I'm a kid. I don't know what's inappropriate, but you're gonna make your child feel that.
They have a voice.
and
Yeah.
I think and I think like I have this day called self-love day, which is very important to my heart, because I feel like your generation and younger generation are having more mental health issue issues, excuse me,
hmm
because they still feel like they don't have a voice.
Honestly, I think that they're having these issues because they know that they exist. These issues didn't come out of nowhere. I think that being that we're more educated, that they exist as far as having anxiety, depression, is like, I think I have this. I think I have this. Like, this generation is full of labeling. Like, oh, I watched 10 TikTok videos that this girl said that she has ADHD. I do that too. Maybe I have ADHD. I feel like we're very big on labeling ourselves, which is
Really?
scary. So versus your generation or my sister's generation, I feel like you guys just push through depression, push through anxiety, push through uncomfortable situations where you guys maybe could have been on medication, maybe went to therapy, maybe just sat down for a second and breathed. It just had to be forced through it. Where my generation, because we know about it, insurance covers it, Medicaid at that, we're just going after it. Like, why not? It's there. Why not? Let me get some medication. Let me get a quick fix. So I don't think that it's a new thing that everybody has now. I think everybody's more educated on it and they're just taking advantage of it.
So do you think social media has hurt your generation as opposed to help? Because there's so much access to information, and it's you don't know what is the right information, what is the wrong information. Do you think it's just too much? It's overwhelming?
It has become overwhelming, and that's why I've just kind of stepped away from social media a little bit, because it's a lot of information to take in, you know, and it's kind of like it forces you to do education. I mean, to educate yourself outside of social media. So you'll go in the shade room and they'll be like, oh, so and so just discovered a new species or something, and you're like, oh yeah, sure, but then on the news it's not like the same information. So it's like it's just so much information being thrown at you. You don't know what's factual, what's just made up. So it's hard. And even girls sharing their experiences with certain stuff, they'll fabricate the story. Like for me, for instance, when I told my breast augmentation story, of course I told them like it was successful for me and all this stuff. But while doing my research prior to doing the surgery, there's a lot of like things that can go wrong. And nobody talks about that. Nobody talks about the negatives. It's like, let me just highlight the good parts.
The good stuff.
The good stuff, whatever, but nobody knew. Well, I told people that, it took me 2 years to get my breast done because my iron was just stuck at 7, like very low. And it was multiple things. I was dehydrated. My menstruals was very heavy, not taking my iron supplements. So I finally built discipline to get my breast done because I was so pressed. But other than that, like I didn't care about my iron. I was like, oh, okay, I'm tired, but it doesn't really affect me. So I don't know. And I know people too where they had implants and they got sick from them. But nobody tells the story because they're so embarrassed. Like, oh my gosh, like it didn't happen the way it happened for this girl. And I don't want to be embarrassed because I just followed her. And they just like hide that part. Or, people will be like, oh, this girl, I know her from everywhere, but like, why isn't she not highlighting when she went through X, Y, and Z, and she's only highlighting this part? You post so much on social media, people feel like you owe them the full story. Where a lot of people just come up and be like, yep, I got my new Mercedes-Benz 2023, but they're not showing you like the hard work. The struggle, or they're not showing you that, they were selling themselves. Or it's so much what it could be.
They're not showing you the backstory because everyone thinks like everyone has a success story and it's overnight, and it's full of crap because nothing happens overnight.
Nothing happens overnight. Everything is consistency. That's why I'm so proud of you on the show. Like I've been seeing you working on this for so long, and I know how it feels because it's hard to stay consistent doing something when you're not seeing the effects that you imagine in your head. Like, where are the 100,000 views? Where's this? Where's that? But it's gonna come. You keep on pushing, it's gonna come.
You know what? I just want to say I'm proud of you because you took courage to come on my show. I will never forget that you are the first family member that ever believed in me. So I got to say it right here because when they show this like 20 years from now, 10 years from now, I'm like, Theo was the first one because you know how people like to jump the bandwagon. Like it's weird with family sometimes. Like no one really believes in you. And then all of a sudden, I can feel how Beyonce feels. When you blow up, that every family wants to act like they always believed in you. But then when you were asking them to do little things like, can you come on my show? And they'd be like, I'm not coming on your show. But let me just tell you something. You have a belief in you, Theo. My cousin, let me just tell you something. When I blow up, because I am the queen of manifestation, I will make sure my cousin Theo, Mom Point, will be walking all of the runways in New York, Milan, Paris, LA, Miami, because this girl is so beautiful. And I just feel like this is going to be another topic we talk about. But the access of like beauty, walking on a runway, sometimes it seems like it's just one-sided. And the world is it's so diverse with so many beautiful people, beautiful body shape, beautiful skin color, that I wish that the runway would reflect that. Right. But how do you feel about that, Theo? Before we say.
When I first started modeling, I literally was walking down Flatbush one day and I started getting pulled from random people like, hey, I'm doing a fashion show. Hey, I know this person. Hey, I'm a photographer, let's do it. So it's kind of like I never had the passion for it, but once I did it and I seen what you could get paid for it, I was like, oh yeah, this is it. So I started getting money. It was cool, but then I had one experience where I went to So I met this girl and she was like, hey, I know about a bunch of castings. I could get you in direct. So she got me a few bookings, and at the time I was 17, so I had to go to castings with either an agent or my mother. So obviously my mother was always working, so I went with my agent. So one day my agent couldn't come with me to a casting, so she just told them and let me sign the paperwork. She was paying me maybe I think $800 for a 12-hour hair shoot. And when I went to sign the paper, my pay was supposed to be like $4,000. So I seen that, and I'm very timid. So imagine as a 17-year-old, I was even more timid. I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm hot, I'm sweating. Like, how do I confront this lady? Why would she ever play with me like that? Like, there's a lot that goes into these shoots. Like, my head at the end of the day is sore. And now that I know the true worth of it, or what these people was paying me, like, you're not even giving me half, and you're not even the one doing the work. So when I confronted her, she basically was like, oh, I'm sorry, I split the money between 4 people and blah, 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 but I'll give you $1,500 today, and I'm sorry, don't bring it up to the other models, because it was other girls too. And from there, I was like, you know what, I need a real agency. I need to get signed. I need to have real management, because these people in these streets is either going to underpay you, make you work for free for exposure, or just not really value, and it's not going anywhere. So from 18 to now, I've been trying to get signed by an agency, and anytime I would get close to it, they'll be like, I'm sorry, but we have enough girls that look like you. I'm sorry, but you're not skinny enough. I'm sorry, but we prefer your hair this way. It was just so much no's. And honestly, maybe if I kept on pushing like consistently, I would have got where I wanted to be, especially at my younger ages. But that's a hard industry. Like, so many no's just like breaks your passion.
Breaks your passion. But I'm here to tell you,
Yeah.
you will get that yes. Even if I have to make sure you get that yes. Okay, you will get that yes, because you were meant to be a model, and I'm not going to let nothing, I'm going to manifest it right now. I'm not going to let nothing stop you from being a model. There's so many beautiful people in the world. To anyone who's in Theo's spot, who is beautiful and want to be a supermodel, don't give up. It's going to happen. You can get all the no's in the world, but that one yes will come. I promise you. Just keep pushing. Just keep pushing. And I want to say, Theo, thank you so much for joining. I'm proud of you, sis. I'm so proud of you. And I can't wait to see you, hug you. And I will definitely, if I ever meet anyone that can help you legitimately for modeling, I will definitely send them your number, because you are super gorgeous, and you deserve to be on every cover on the face of this earth.
Aww.
And that is a God's honest truth, because you are beautiful. But everyone, thank you so much for joining. Danny Benson, that's me, and my cousin Theo. Hi, Theo.
Hi.
And I'm proud of you, sis. I just wanted to bring her flowers because she's super amazing. And guys, this is the younger generation. We have to start listening to them to help with the problems that we have today, because they're the ones that's going to be living on this earth while we are far gone. So we have to think about the young ones, the younger kids, and not be so egotistical and think about just ourselves. And let's get our country together as one again. Thank you so much, everybody. See you next week. Bye. Bye, everybody. Yay! We did it. Woo!